Hello, welcome to episode 5 of How I See It. Today I'm going to talk to you on how I see mental health care in America. Um, First off, let's start with crazy. There's a lot of crazy people in America. Some of us know we're crazy, some of us don't. Some people glamorize it like, ooh, I want to be crazy like Angelina Jolie and Girl Interrupted. She was fun, and honestly, that may look like fun. Some of these crazy people may look like they're having just this great life. She's got lots of boyfriends, she's having fun, but there's a fallout with all of that. With that having fun, that life of the party, the life of the party is typically not having a good time when everything settles down. um but our mental health care is really, I believe that anybody who needs therapy or who wants therapy should be able to get it. It shouldn't be if you're on Medicaid, you have to go through some hoops to get everything paid for. Um, like they have you do these evaluations and they decide if you're tier one, two, three, and how much care you get based on that. And my daughter was a tier one, and the evaluator came by this year to evaluate her. And at least I think she was tier one. She was the highest priority. And she was having a good day when the evaluator came by to see her. So they knocked her down to where she wasn't going to, they weren't going to provide certain things. And like a week after she got evaluated, she got thrown into Rivendell because, well, she wanted to go. So I took her because that's the kind of mom I am. If my kid says, I want to go to the mental hospital, okay, you're going to the mental hospital. Go ahead. Here you go. Because whatever you need, if you feel like that's what you need, then, I'll do what you need me to do as far as mental health goes, because I don't want a suicide, or I don't want her to hurt herself or anyone else. So they knocked her down, and a week later she's in a mental hospital, which we had to pay for because they said, well, she's not in this tier where we provide that. No big deal. I mean, it's not like we had to pay a bunch for her because she's on our kids. um she hates her therapist because he's a man. She says he looks like a pervert, which I've told her time and again, perverts don't look like perverts. Otherwise, they wouldn't get to be perverts. If a pedophile looked like a pedophile, no kids would come near them. No parent would let their kids near them. Uh, so she won't see him. Well, he is the only therapist at the facility she goes to that is for her age group, which is really a joke. There should be 2 or 3 therapists that she could see so that she gets the care that she needs. Because if she's avoiding him and doesn't want to talk to him and she's not comfortable, then let her have a different therapist. Myself, I've had quite a few therapists, and none of them have really helped me. I realized at my last therapy session that it was more along the lines of I needed to bring up what I wanted to do. And the thing is I've been in therapy for 20 years, and it's not, I should not have had to come up with that. But there was a therapist I had that I think that he was going to be very good, and then my insurance changed, and he's like, well, I don't take that insurance, so you have to see a different therapist. And when the insurance does that, or when the insurance says we only pay for 6 therapy sessions a year, if a person needs more than that, they should get that. It's ridiculous for them not to. It's ridiculous that, sometimes, like, I had to get a referral from my doctor to keep seeing my psychiatrist that I've been seeing. I shouldn't have to do that if the psychiatrists, if I've had them longer than my PCP, you know. And when you go to get diagnosed, or to the psychiatrists, most of the psychiatrists that you see, there are some good ones, But most of the really good ones are higher priced. They don't take a whole lot of insurances, and a lot of people can't afford to spend that kind of money on the really good ones. Same with the therapists. A lot of insurances will not pay for therapy sessions at a quote unquote wellness spa, where you can take yoga and tai chi and learn pottery and different things that would actually be very beneficial to people with mental problems, to actually do something, to create something, or to find peace, in yoga or meditation, to have somebody guiding them, because not everybody can just read a book and know how to meditate. Some people have to be guided into that. And how do you know you're doing it right? Especially if you're not feeling a sense of peace, then you're obviously not doing it right. But that those kinds of treatments are not typically covered by insurance, and they're not covered, and even if you've got like insurance that you pay for, that you're paying pretty good for, chances are they won't cover that kind of facility. And if every time you go to therapy it's $200 out of your pocket, well, how many people can afford that? And it makes me really sad. I mean, if you really want to look at how bad healthcare, mental health care is in America, then you look at people like Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park, who had money. They had access to seeing the best therapists in the world. And I think both of them were smart enough to seek out that help at one time or another. And if they had access to this and it was any good, how are they dead? Why would they kill themselves? We really have to start really looking at our loved ones and seeing signs. I mean, even if you don't need therapy, going to therapy because you are in a relationship with a recovering addict is a good idea, to see signs of addiction coming back or that they are on something. If you're living with somebody who has a mental disorder, going to therapy to find out how better to relate to them, how to notice warning signs of them spiraling or whatever. There's not a whole lot of coverage for people who want to help their loved ones. And that's why I say that, mental health care should be free, and it should be also offered to family members, because they're also seeing this and they don't understand. And a lot of us do want to understand our loved ones, how their minds work, and how, like, what is this that I'm seeing? And how do I help them? How do I stop it? What do I need to do? So it's not just about getting the person who is mentally ill in check. It's also about educating. You need to educate their family. And with drug addicts, you also need to educate, like a lot of times people look at the drug addiction is the problem. The drug addiction is the symptom of a problem. And a lot of people don't get that. They think, well, I'll send them to rehab. And all rehab's really going to do is get them clean and teach them how to live a drug-free life. Basically get away from all the people, blah, blah, blah. They don't necessarily treat for why they started using in the first place. What are they trying to escape? What are they trying not to feel? What makes it? Because see, once you find the trigger, you can tell them, okay, this is how you deal with this, and there's not a whole lot of that here. I don't know exactly how well things go in other countries as far as mental health care goes. I know that mental illnesses are still quite stigmatized in a lot of countries, and it's really sad. I mean, there's people who kill themselves because nobody understands them, or because people are ashamed of them, or because they're ashamed of themselves because, they go to church or to prayer or whatever their religion, and they expect God to fix them. And, you know, for a lot of us, God is not enough. This whole, he'll never give me more than I can handle, well, he made us the way we are. I don't put a lot of faith in, God like moving pieces around. I don't really put a lot of faith in that myself. I don't think that God really does anything to us or for us. I think that everything we need has been created. It is there. There are people who can relate. There are people who have figured out certain things and they can relate that to other people. And, bad things that happen, there's people who have seen the other side of it and they can help those that don't see a way out of what's happened to them or what is currently happening to them. And that's where therapy comes in. Perhaps that's God's will, that there are people who are smart enough to help you through. There are people who are skilled enough to help you through, and maybe those people are therapists. Maybe they're just people that you come across. They might be at your church, people who know. But just saying, I believe in God and God will fix me. I've never put any faith in that, because I look at all the bad things that happen and I think, why is he going to bless me with $100 that I need? And there's children dying, of starvation or whatever. Why help me do something that I don't necessarily need to do? Why keep me alive? Why give me $100 so I can be happy on a little shopping spree, when somebody's starving? I don't think that works. But if it works for you, that's great. More power to you if that actually works for you. But I think that there just needs to be more help out there, not just for the mentally ill, but for the people who care about them, to understand them. I know that there's a lot of people that couldn't give a rat's ass. They don't want to do the work to understand their kid or their brother or their mom. They're just like, fuck it, I'm done. But some of us do want to know. Some of us do want to help people, because we don't want our loved ones to kill themselves because nobody understands. And not everybody's smart enough to do research and look into, how can I help this person? Not everybody's going to put that kind of work in. Even offering free mental health care to help families of that, like Al-Anon does. Even systems like that, not everybody takes advantage of them. But it's good to know that it's there if somebody does want to take that step. And it also would go into, if you know somebody that needs help, if you could go talk to somebody and say, hey, how do I get them to recognize that they have a problem? How do I get them to take that step to get help? What can I do? And that's something that really needs to happen here. But some insurances make it impossible to get the care that some people need to keep functioning in society the way that they want to, or the way that society thinks that they should. So that was a cat tail. So it's a joke here, that people are not getting the care that they need to deal with their issues. So that's how I see it. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.